Okay, here we go, guys. Here we go. Welcome back. We are taking a bit of a detour. We are changing pathways. We are onto the employment pathway now, which happened recently. And yeah, I'm gonna be talking to a team member from Team Jawbyte who created a game called Acquisition. Would you like to introduce yourself and your team?
My name is Sandy. Actually Esso. A team of 3 executives, and I did the programming and was a team lead. My mate Max did all the art, and my mate did support me we made a game called Acquisition. Acquisition is about it's like roguelike, about rushing 3 bosses, and if you complete those bosses in one go, you win the game.
Nice. I'm gonna stop you there before we run out of content. Okay, why roguelike? Why roguelike? What was the reason to go that direction?
Roguelikes is really because jam games. I like the idea that you can play a jam game.
Yeah.
Completely. So doing a roguelike, you can always try, and you can play the game in one sitting, and even if you don't complete the game, you still get a flavor of what the game has to offer. While some more like long narrative games, you might not actually get the whole game experience if you're only gonna play it for 5 to 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the reasons we chose roguelike.
I see.
Also just like the genre in general.
Okay, you mentioned you were the programmer on the project, right?
Yes.
What did you find the most challenging in this particular project?
This project?
Yeah.
Probably all the abilities we had, because we had a few ability systems.
Oh, would you like to touch on those?
Yeah, we can touch about those. So that's 3 weapons,
Mm-hmm.
and each weapon have like 2 primary and secondary attack, and those have an ability attached to them. But when you defeat a boss, you can gain a new ability. But the way we design this game is that you don't get like a new button to press; it just adds onto your existing abilities.
Oh,
So
okay.
for example, that's a spread shot. That's your normal shot with an arrow. But then if you activate your spread shot, if you gain that ability, you do an arc instead. So it doesn't actually change the input, but the ability changes in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Your primary ability changes.
I'll kinda say the obvious that it makes me think a bit of like Binding of Isaac.
Yes.
But it's much more. Well, the theme is obviously much different. Maybe you could explain the design choice behind that.
One of the big decisions was that the game had to have very minimalistic UI and quite stripped back in a sense. We didn't want to tell the user really how to play the game, but we ended up doing that anyways later in our patch version because we wanted the feedback. But some games that were inspired by Hades and also Binding Isaac. But our main objective was making everything very streamlined. So when you start the game from point A to B, it's just one nice flow, and there's many things in your way, like pop-ups or things on the screen, so you just can enjoy the gameplay.
I see.
Yeah.
Did you have a favorite weapon?
My personal favorite was the sword. Some people felt the staff was the best one, but also was quite OP. It wasn't balanced appropriately in time for the jam. We have now released a second 1.1 version that fixes some of those issues.
Okay, awesome.
But I actually felt the staff was the most boring weapon. But
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Then you need to fix it as a game devs. So how was Jumfuser? How's the experience of getting something together? You know, actually from start to finish, making a game.
It was really good because it was an excuse to work with some guys I always want to work with. So my mates, like my artist, my roommate, and we are both studying the same course, but he happens to be able to do art as well. So you're like, I'll do programming because I'm more programmer focused, while he's more design and art. So he'll do all the art. He did all the art, and just a good excuse to get together and spend a summer, at least part of the summer, making something fun.
Brilliant. That's awesome. Yeah, definitely. No, it came out great. I really liked the game you produced, and that's That's me speaking as a gamer. I think
A game what?
a gamer, a person that plays
Okay,
games.
a gamer.
A gamer.
Yeah.
I think you really you did the jam the justice. You know, I think you managed
you very
to create a really nice project, and something that does impress me also is the boss fights that you actually managed to put together.
Oh,
And
cheers.
if I may ask, what are the symbols that are always there's three symbols around each boss, and they are each different color. Would you like to expand on that?
So going back to that thing about us not wanting to explain things to the player, so we tried to use a lot of symbolism.
I
So
see.
we created a symbol for each boss, and I think if you complete the game as well, at the end you see each symbol on an altar that lets you ascend to the next to complete the game, and it takes you to the credit screen. So I think vaguely what you're trying to say is that by defeating each boss, you acquire something for them, and then you take that to the altar to ascend or win the game. And that's why we try to add those kind of symbolism. So we don't say it outright, but if you look enough, hopefully you can figure that out yourself.
I see. A bit of spoilers for anyone who just listened, but
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll have more of that in the future. So, you've been one of the more. You've been quite successful with the employment pathway. Can you maybe say how things have been ever since after the awards and everything?
So the awards were during summer, like late summer, so I haven't actually had time to. Like I just added this game to my portfolio maybe 2 weeks ago. Max still hasn't done it, and my other programmer still hasn't done it. So we haven't had time to process all the information, all the awards we got, or not awards, nominations.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hopefully it'll add to my portfolio because I think the game itself is a nice piece to have, even if we didn't win anything.
Oh, absolutely. I absolutely agree. And that's something I was really looking forward to this year's all of the games produced in all pathways really is that I love responsive gameplay, and from what I'm seeing it's exactly what you got going, and it's great.
Well, if you have time to play the new version, you might see a few enhancement in responsiveness.
Oh,
Because
certainly.
like we really tried to respond to as much feedback as we could. Because some were like, oh, this feels a bit slow, this a bit sluggish. So we tried to tighten it all up and make it as enjoyable as possible. At least the new version.
Yeah, I'll be sure to forward your socials during our break while we are transitioning. So anyone wondering where they can reach out, I'll make sure to forward everything after our interview. So just heads up, keep an eye on chat, and you'll be able to access what we are discussing essentially. So employment pathway, what do you think is next for you or even the team?
So we are a team of 3 people. We know Max and I, who the artist, we know that we want to try and do the actual transfusion next year. But we need to build a team. We don't know about our my second programmer, Jamie. I think he might have. I think he want to get employed rather than start a business in that sense. So everyone should go find their decisions and do what they feel is best for themselves.
Yeah,
But we will.
no, go on, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. But we would like not to let Jawbyte die. We put a lot of effort into it. So it'd be cool to see where it will go.
Yeah. Why Jawbyte? Where does the team name come from?
We went through like 20, 30 name iterations. We just kept throwing things on the board and to see what stuck. And Jawbyte kind of had a nice ring to it.
Oh,
And kind of, if you see our logo, it's kind of it's a shark, like the shark jaws. So and Max is the artist, so he just started drawing a bunch of things as well. So we just tried to figure out what we felt would sound nice and also kind of representative of what we're doing.
yeah.
Because I feel like we don't want to make one type of game. So having an open name like Jawbyte we could make many different types of games in the future.
Yeah, no, I think you've put great thought into it, and
Yeah.
it's almost like choosing a name was part of your game development in a sense, because you had to figure one out that fits what you want to do in the future and such.
Yeah, I kind of think my design philosophy in many senses is like choosing a name sometimes first, and then you try and figure out how things support that name. Like putting the first design pillar is the name, because then you need to make sure that your design actually reflects what the name says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a really great tip to really anyone in the stream even watching who are considering entering the employment pathway next year is like considering what is gonna dictate the rest of the game, or like basing something around something. I think people can arrive at design solutions much quicker if it's supposed to fit something, some theme, whatever they choose, or whether it's like a team name. So I think yeah, go on, sorry.
I think that's great for game jams in general.
Yeah.
But for larger projects, it might be a little tunnel visioned, but it's a good place to start, I think.
Yeah, no, for game jams in particular, without a doubt, I absolutely agree with that. Absolutely. Have you had feedback from the players on your game yet?
Yeah. So we made a feedback form when we were testing, and then also a lot of the participants of the jam and just our friends who played the game, their feedback on the actual page, and then we try to compile that to make a list of what needs to be fixed for the post-jam version. And also we want to add a few things we didn't have time to add in the end.
I see.
Yeah.
Would you be continuing the development of this game?
I don't think.
Yeah, sorry. Go. No, I was just gonna ask: are you looking to release it, or is it just gonna stay as a portfolio piece?
Because we're all starting university again now. Like I literally just moved in 2 days ago. I don't think you have time to work on this full time. And I think if we do work on it again, it will be like a reincarnation almost. Like if this could almost be a prototype, because it was a jam game, so the code base isn't always the most clean.
Yeah.
It'll be a bit messy, and if you don't look at it for a while, you might forget it. And just some core things I would like to change. So if we do visit Acquisition again, it might be Acquisition remastered, or like Acquisition 2, or not Acquisition itself.
Or just acquire.
Yeah.
So what can we? So do you reckon we are gonna hear from Jawbyte or yourself in the future, in terms of indie, or perhaps next year we'll? Do you reckon we are gonna see you on the enterprise pathway?
I will hope so. I hope we'll enter an enterprise pathway. I don't know that if it's gonna be Jawbyte, because that is us three, Jamie, Max, and me.
I see.
So if we end up having a different team, that might not be Jawbyte anymore, or maybe they don't want to be a part of Jawbyte in that sense.
I see.
I'm flexible in a sense, because I think it's just a team is just what facilitates making the game. It doesn't need to be my specific team.
Yeah. I think you have a very healthy mindset, and I think you'll certainly do great if you stick with it. Any shout-outs you would like to give before we finish off?
I would, but none of my teammates have Twitter, so I can't.
It's fine, you can just say hello to whoever you want, even to the chat.
Hello guys, thanks for coming and listening to me. If you follow our own Twitter, Jawbyte Games, I think you'll add it at the end. That's probably the best place to see us do more stuff in the future, if we're going to do more stuff as a team.
There we go. Yeah, I'll be linking that in the chat during our intermission, so keep an eye out. Okay, well, thank you so much for chatting with me, and yeah, it was really great to see you participating in Jamfuser, and you have a really crispy piece to add into your portfolio, I would say.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
I really appreciate this talk.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for chatting. We're gonna go into an intermission, and right after, we're gonna be talking with another team from the employment pathway. Talk to you soon.